The followers of this channel, the Purple Power, in the days coming up to the election, fully understood that there would be a big push. They understood the importance of pushing for executive orders, pushing for seats for stimulus, pushing for MSC. But when we started first talking about these final pushes of the Purple Power in the 11th hour before election night, we didn't expect a surge in COVID-19 cases. Today, the number is through the roof, and tomorrow it could actually be worse. With new numbers breaking all records, ICU beds at full capacity, the concern is whether hazard pay workers will get paid hazard pay. The concern is where is your grants? The concern is where your stimulus checks you're owed up to this point. And the biggest concern is as new lockdowns are looming on the horizon, no one in Congress has written a bill to even address that period of time that's on the horizon. That's called the third stimulus package. We're going to go through all this as exciting, great news is unfolding, but we remain focused, we remain pushing, and we remain here on Purple. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday afternoon, the day before Halloween, and we expected a big push before the election night, but we didn't expect the unlikely surge of COVID-19 cases in this record amount. More about that in a second. If you've not subscribed and become part of this incredible community, please do. By subscribing, you get an alert when a new video goes live, so make sure you hit the subscribe button at the front of this channel, and then also hit that little alert button on the front of this channel so you get an alert when a new video goes live. With 5 hours of programming every day, you shouldn't be missing a video because there's always something breaking on this channel. Also, like this video, and it's really helping. The videos are appearing higher in the rankings before other videos that really just don't keep people up to date about much of anything except the coyote that got your stimulus check in the front lawn last night. Sorry, it was a sudden, just took the stimulus in his mouth and just ran for the hills. Strange visual. But let's go over what's coming up in this video. What's coming up in this video are shocking numbers. I mean, they're just jaw-dropping, shocking numbers. Last Saturday, I told you that the Wall Street would take a major hit as major COVID-19 cases were announced on Thursday. At the time, there was 83,000 new COVID-19 cases announced last Thursday, breaking the previous record of 70,000 for the month of July. I said, you know what? When Wall Street reopens on Monday, expect a crash. Expect the stock market to take a crash and expect the stock market to be volatile throughout the week. Well, guess what happened today? Late today, the number came out for Thursday's COVID-19 cases, and it's not good. And now there's a prediction about today's numbers and tomorrow's numbers, and it's actually worse. So as you sit here today, what's happening with Wall Street? What's happening with your stimulus? What's happening with dealing with this? And why is the push for second stimulus and third stimulus even louder than before and needs to be loud with the Purple Power? All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that Purple Power needs to be very loud and very vocal because there's going to be an attempt to simply leave you hanging if you're not. First stimulus, March. Second stimulus, now. Third stimulus in about November or December, all the way potentially to March or April. Congress has been unable to get anything past the first stimulus, and you should absolutely categorically not think or be confused or be naive to think that the second stimulus package is going to carry you all the way through the new year. It doesn't. And what they want you to think is that they're going to be protecting you all the way to summer next year. No. Their provisions in the second stimulus package expire in December. So you will be left with no stimulus relief once again. We've waited 6 months to get stimulus relief. We're at October. We're almost in November. I mean, what's November? Sunday. And they're looking at stimulus packages they're looking at a second stimulus package that expires 30 days thereafter. What are we doing? Sound ridiculous? It is ridiculous. What are they doing? They're trying to cast it upon you as though it's incredible relief that will give you everything you need and that we're going to crush the virus, we're going to not go hungry. Child, 30 days of stimulus relief is not what's needed. And so what's important to understand is that the next stimulus package needs to be done right now. That stimulus package kicks in late December and carries you to the spring. There is no rent control. There is no rent eviction protection. There is no mortgage forbearance. There is no FPUC. There is no hazard pay. There's no stimulus check. There's no EIDL grant. There's no EIDL loan after either late December or early January in both the Republican and Democratic proposal. So what are you supposed to do? Fend for yourself? I don't think so. That's why the Purple Power needs to be very vocal on social media. There's always someone who seems to think that not dealing with the future is fine. Just deal with the past. No, you got to deal with both of them. You can't sit here now in October and say, okay, I'm facing new lockdowns in a few weeks. Okay, make sure you give me stimulus relief after the lockdowns are over. Make sure you give me some stimulus relief, by July of next year, because I'm gonna have a really difficult time, starting in December. That so long as you pay me in July, I'm fine. Who does that? No. Do you go drive your car and then get the gas after it runs out of gas? No. You get the gas before it runs out of gas. So it's important to understand there is no one among the Republicans and Democrats who start preparing a bill to get you through a wave of lockdowns and a third stimulus package, period. And then there's this. Absolutely incredible. The United States reported 88,000 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. Absolutely astronomical. And the belief is that it could be 100,000 cases today, Friday, and 100,000 cases tomorrow. We're starting to find ourselves on a steep slope of epidemic curve. So I think you're going to see cases accelerate, says Scott Gottlieb, former head of FDA, told Squawk Box Friday. The positivity rate is greater than 10% in more than 15% in more than 15 states. That means that in 15 states in this country, more than 10% of its population are COVID positive. A sign that there's more infections out there than we're not turning over. Gottlieb also believes that today, Friday, and Saturday, COVID cases could pass 100,000. If we get to the next level, some of the European countries like France and Italy, Spain, and UK are experiencing, it's going to really press our healthcare system across the country. But right now, I think we're starting to see cases accelerate. As the nation did after Memorial Day, we're at another critical point in this pandemic response, says the Secretary of Health. Unfortunately, at the stage right now, we're starting to peak rapidly in many states, and we're going through the exponential growth. And we're keeping an eye on hospitalizations, and we need to be very careful. We're not going to overwhelm our hospitals. If things do not change, if they continue on the course we're on, there's going to be a whole lot of pain in this country. And with regards to additional cases and hospitalizations and death, said Anthony Fauci minutes ago, we're on a very difficult trajectory. We're going to go in the wrong direction if we don't do anything. What's important to understand is that COVID cases are growing faster, speeding up, while Congress is slowing down. Congress is doing less for your stimulus as COVID cases are getting worse. They're focusing on their own careers. They're focusing on getting reelected. They're focusing on trash talking each other. They're focusing on, going after big tech in some subcommittee hearing. They're focusing on a Supreme Court nominee. They're focusing on a lot of really things that either you consider nebulous or you think they are not as pressing as people dying. And now there is really concern that Congress, once again, is behind the eight ball. There's been so many times during this reporting of this subject matter on this channel where I have reported Congress being behind the eight ball. But this might be the time in which they can't get away with it. And I'll tell you why. In July, I reported that FPUC was coming up for expiration. It was coming up for expiration. I think it was July 27th. I said, of course, it's not going to expire. I mean, who's going to let FPUC expire? We're in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, it's not going to expire. I remember Senator Harris on MSNBC, and the MSNBC host, Chris Hayes, said, they're not going to let FPUC expire. I mean, who would let FPUC expire? I mean, that's just crazy. Who would let unemployment expire? Congress did. And then we sort of floated and say, okay, well, they're coming back in August. And we all thought, okay, August 8th, which is, I guess, the last day before they take another vacation. They'll get it done. I mean, you know, it'll just be a few extra weeks, and they'll do retroactive, and they'll just pay us those past weeks. No, they took another vacation. And then they took another vacation. And now they're on a vacation now. They closed the Senate for recess. They closed the House for recess. They keep on closing House and Senate as COVID-19 cases rampage out of control. You know, I was one of the first to talk to you about why the Senate does not even have remote voting. Yes, the Senate was given opportunity early in this pandemic to vote remotely, electronically, like by Zoom or by webcam. In the case of the pandemic raging out of control in March, guess what the Senate did? No, we're not going to do that. Excuse me? Yeah, we're not going to do that. We'll just, we'll wing it. The House of Representatives as well. Steny Hoyer was given the opportunity, didn't accept it. So now we have both members of both bodies of Congress that could be locked down because of a lockdown, and they're not even set up for remote appearances or voting in the case of a pandemic. What's important to understand is that when we talk about purple in this time slot, we have to talk about hazard pay. We have to talk about grants. We have to talk about money that you're owed. Let me go over that right now. Hazard pay is the money you were owed under the first stimulus package. Didn't get in there. It was put into the second stimulus package, was removed, and no word whether it would be in the third stimulus package. But all the last 2 weeks, both parties have had the audacity to talk about frontline workers, but they don't want to pay them a penny. Let's be clear as we sit here today. Both parties of this government are accused, rightfully so, of pandering to the motto, to the messaging that they are trying to help frontline workers. And neither is giving a penny to the frontline workers. Nothing. Now, there are exceptions to them, but they are not applicable to everyone. The bill proposed by Steve Mnuchin has several provisions that would pay frontline workers in hazard pay-ish type grants. First, there's a CDC grant that would pay you if you worked as an essential worker during the pandemic or still working or about to work. It's a grant. It's administered by CDC. How much? We really don't know. Not really clear. They're not telling us, of course. Then there's the EIDL grant. That's coming back. Oh, yeah, baby, it's coming back. That's for anyone that is a single practitioner or solo or independent contractor. You can get it. Again, it has not been passed, but it's in there as well. It applies to all my frontline workers who are independent contractors, solo practitioners. Next, there's the money for staying local, which no one really likes. But Steve Mnuchin claims that he has put guardrails on the restrictions of his version of it, where it's only to be paid to frontline workers who work during the pandemic, and that it's not to be paid to any state officials, that it would go right into those frontline workers. The only problem is the state would administer the money to you and get it from the federal government. So what do you think? What do you think? How many stimulus checks do you think you're owed? When do you think the stimulus checks should start? When do you think they should stop? How long should they continue? I have a personal opinion. My personal opinion is Congress needs to do things ahead of time. They can't keep on doing things after the fact. And they keep on not relying upon economics, and they keep on relying upon things that aren't based in anything logical. The Democrats say that their stimulus package is based upon science. Okay. Is it based upon economics? No. How many stimulus checks are given to the American people? 1. How many months is that stimulus check supposed to cover? 6, 7, and now we're pressing, maybe you're going to try to do it for 12 months. How many months have you not given people FPUC? A lot. Are you missing the month of August in your package? Yes. So we're not supposed to get enhanced unemployment for August for 4 weeks. So that's like $2,400. Yes, you're supposed to eat that. These things start to erode people's confidence in Congress because ultimately they don't look like they're working upon economics or finance. They look like they're just sort of winging numbers together. And let me see what some of your comments were to yesterday's video. Gamer, we need to vote all real Americans to be in office, vote them out and start all over. Lerma, Lucky Colorado, they're getting $375 each. At least they gain something. Heidi, hey, Purple Power guy, keep pushing. We can't let them use lockdowns as an excuse not to give us those stimulus checks. They have what they want. We have a right to have benefits. Thank you for all the hard work, LALATE. I love that, Heidi. So Heidi understands that if they want to have you on lockdown, they better be paying some stimulus checks. Tona, good evening, LA and the Purple Power. Christine, I would love so much for them to go to the middle class and try to live like and see how it need to live. Sharon, the government's well aware, they just don't care. Mass adventure. It seems like whenever large benefits are going to the public at large, there are lobbyists for private interests who want to put it under their skin. Cheryl Morris, Stimulus Now. John Takahas, this has been my go-to channel. Well, thank you, John Takahas, if I pronounced that right. So very kind. Jay Marie, only 6 days before you have an idea of where the stimulus might go, yet it feels like forever for those who are in need. Hang tight, the tide will be subside. Stay positive, heart, heart, heart. I love that. Danielle K, you're talking about third stimulus. We haven't got to the second damn stimulus. Danielle K, you have that same comment every day. Danielle, guess what? They're not going to pay you the second stimulus. They're going to miss you, and they go to the third stimulus, and they're going to miss you again. Not paying a stimulus check means they're going to keep on skipping over you. What you need to understand is that they need to pay each period, and we can't let them off the hook. Otherwise, they don't pay any of the periods. It's a case of hazard pay. They haven't paid any hazard pay. It's the case of FPUC. They want to lose the month of August. They want you to ignore the month of August and not get you any money. Tom Baker, I agree we should get 2 checks at once. Michelle Free, if people had no money in hand, no lockdown, that's simple. Renee Smith, love you, Purple Power, much. Ryan Termy, we need our money. G. Greg and Barrett, you need to get Pelosi Minoshin's letter from the other day. I'm not going to cover it because I'm not focusing anymore on that silliness. I'm focusing on more on stimulus relief numbers, not petty disagreement. You didn't answer the phone. I called you. You were out with your girlfriend. It went to voicemail. That's what it feels like. Quintero, that lady should go to the doctor. She's getting Old-timers. Joe McNara, the Senate does and doesn't. He's get it done. Paul, all I hear is go Team Purple. A lot of exclamation points. And a lot more comments to come as well. If you have questions or comments in today's video, drop them in the comments below, and we may even get to them tomorrow's recording. Go to the front channel, subscribe, because as a community, we're going to stay positive, focus, and motivated all the way to the end and get exactly what we're owed. We're not going to miss a stimulus check. Also, like this video. Coming up next is McConnell versus Trump. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay about life for more.